Hello and welcome to the Living Life Short Discourses on the Greatest Call channel, the global voice for expanding consciousness. Globally, we produce about 4 billion with a B metric tons of food each year. Every year. Again, data from the UNDP, United Nations and World Food Program, shows we as a species, you, me, we produce about 4 billion metric tons of food every year, each 12 calendar month. 4 billion metric tons of food. And out of this, the not so interesting fact is that over 1.2 billion out of the 4 billion go to waste. Over 30% of the food we produce go to waste. And out of the 1.2 billion that goes to waste, 43% is wasted or lost between harvest and retail. Again, 43% of the 1.2 billion metric tons that go to waste every year is wasted in harvest and retail. And guess where the rest of the 57% goes to waste? In my house and in your house. Over 57% of all the food produced on the planet are thrown into the food disposal or, sadly, garbage. Again, data from the United Nations and also the World Food Program and the UNDP shows that we as a species, Homo sapien, Homo genus sapien species, you, me, and our families we produce about 4 billion metric tons of food, which is totally enough for our species as our population of almost 7.9 billion stands. And an adult human being will be well nourished with about 500 kilograms of food each year. And that should translate into about 1,200 pounds of food. So an adult human can be well nourished on 500 kilograms of food every year. But depending on what they eat, others fluctuate, as having more steak dinner can have different effects on the weight or numbers than eating, say, mostly salads. And it's region specific, as food is mostly cultural. We all develop our palate mostly culturally. So a particular culture may either skew these averages based on their eating habits. However, 500 kilograms of food would most often than not be enough for every adult each year. So we basically produce enough to feed every human being on the planet. However, we waste a little over 30% of this, being the 1.2 billion metric tons, of which 43% is lost in harvesting and retailing alone, and the rest, sadly, thrown away by you and me in our homes. In our homes, folks. In my house and your house. The rest of the whooping 700 million metric tons are thrown into the garbage disposal or ends up in our landfills. From the same source, United Nations, about 1 billion of the planet grapples with malnutrition, and more people on the planet are slowly being affected by hunger and malnutrition since 2014, of which COVID-19 global pandemic worsened. So we were already slowly rising in the number of hungry people on the planet since 2014. Upon all our biotech that is able to produce abundantly more than ever imagined, the planet is slowly getting hungrier and hungrier since 2014, almost 10 years ago. And the pandemic has worsened this, and over 65% of these hungry people, or increasingly hungry people, are women and sadly children. Even the world global economic powerhouse, United States, has about 20% of its children facing food insecurity. World number one economy. About 1 in 5 children face food insecurity. %. How more about the other countries? We continue to glean the best knowledge and narratives from the scientists, sage, philosophers, prophets, and poets, always for the singular purpose of expounding your consciousness, my consciousness. So, we, you, me, we have seen how staggering the data shown to us is. As being of expanding consciousness, as we are beings of expanding consciousness, why do we produce and waste over a third? which could adequately feed the rest of the population dying of hunger and malnutrition. As beings with the most advanced consciousness ever known on this planet, we are one of the least efficient in managing one of the world's, or one of the most critical life's supports, i.e., nutrition from food. We should never forget a need in any part of our collective consciousness is a need for us all. Again, a need in any part of our collective consciousness is a need for us all. Similar to what NATO says, right? An attack on one is an attack on all. Maybe they should have extended it. An attack on any nation, hunger on any particular people is hunger for us all. Hunger on any part of this planet is the entire planet's challenge, because we all share one indivisible consciousness, as talked about many times on this channel, on the Grail's Call channel. We do continue to buy more with fiat currency, thereby increasing the pressure on demand. Making farmers produce more only to be pushed into our garbage disposals and landfills, whilst children and women on this same planet are dying of inadequate nutrition or simply starvation. We give it a very nice word, malnutrition, but the fact is, it's simply starvation, dying of hunger. What have we, what have I, what have you, folks, what have we achieved by so doing? And then sometimes we would retort, but I'm no waster of food. And then we forget that after we are thereby not advocating for less demand, which could hamper the path to world food security, and we are not advocating for less demand, because that could hamper the path to world food security. And world food security should be the goal of every consciousness: the security of the planet in food, water, and quality air. You and me, folks, should be more concerned about these basic necessities of living than anything else. So we are thereby not advocating for less demand. However, we could rather always have a second grocery bag that we could fill from the overboard in our homes and get them delivered to those closest who would need them the most. How amazing it would be for that granny who lives 2 blocks down the street to wake up to a beautiful basket of food from our overbought groceries. How beautiful it will be, without even her knowing who did it. Just as a kind gesture, a note in the food basket to her. How beautiful that would be, than to waste them in our homes. And most of us, we know they will go to waste. We know a part of us have never betrayed us. It will always make it known to us that a good portion of this food is going to waste. And indeed, it does goes to waste. It does, always. So we could still buy the same quantity, but instead of facilitating this food, their trip to the wasteland, we could repackage them for delivery to many establishments if we cannot get them delivered to a neighbor who we think might need them. We could repackage them for delivery to many establishments in our counties that do have the food program, and they shall take care of it in giving out to people who need them. That should significantly reduce a good portion of the food we send home. Less food shall end up in the garbage disposal, and we shall be more efficient in our living, and our evolution as beings shall be exceptionally blissful. Again, instead of cutting back on spending on food, which a lot of us may not be able to break the habit, and in order not to cause unwanted dent to food demand, which could temporarily cause disruptions, we should have a second bag to fill to be given out to our neighbors who need them the most and are closest. See, folks, we all do willingly or unwillingly share ourselves as a species. The reason COVID-19 was not only a city in China problem, it wasn't only one country's problem, but became a global pandemic. Why? We cannot help ourselves but to share the current of oxygen and other gases that form air. We share continuously, willingly or not. The most important survival gas, i.e. air, that I, that you, that we all breathe. This is our nature informing us in one way or the other. In the most important way, the indivisibility of consciousness and the challenges faced by a pod is already faced by all. Is already faced by all. So if we cannot survive few minutes without air and few days without water, why can we not share food which we could go without longer? Nature had made us willingly or otherwise to share the most important mechanism for survival, i.e. breathing in and breathing out. Why can we not contemplate on this to share our food basket, to share our dining tables with others? Why do we relish or are just simply flippant on sharing our cooked meals with people who need them instead of throwing them away to be wasted? Why? It is very concerning yet soothing to know you, me, folks, we do have absolute control over this scourge. We can, whenever we make up our minds, change this. We can change this. We could transform all those food that goes to waste in our homes to feeding others, to supplementing their nutrition, to supplementing the nutrition of children and women who are mostly affected by our own actions. You and me, we can effect this change. Yes, we can. We can stop this loss. As previously articulated, we shall glean the best knowledge and narratives from every corner of the planet and in every discipline for the ultimate purpose of expanding your consciousness, folks, and that of mine. We have not seen any culture on the planet that support the act of wasting anything, let alone one of the three most important survival necessities. It is nutrition from food. Simply, food. When we do adopt this lifestyle of totally annihilating all forms of food wasted as much as we can from our homes, beginning with our grocery shopping, we shall then be more resourceful. It is in a way better place to give to our neighbors who need them the most. We cannot give what we do not have. Nobody can give what they do not have. When we are resourceful with our food, it shall percolate into other areas of our lives. thereby being more efficient with our material possessions, which shall fuel giving, a topic which we have talked about many times on the Greatest Hall channel. Wastage, folks, is one of the roadblocks to gracious giving. Again, wastage is one of the roadblocks to graciously giving to people. Most people who waste things, even food, are not in a position to give graciously. And that is what we all have gleaned from living, from experiences. The more you waste, the less we can have to give, even if the objects are different. Even if the objects we are giving out are different. Excellence pervades. Again, excellence pervades. It's a habit, and it's mostly pervasive. Once the excellence of no waste to a degree that we are comfortable with, it must percolate into our finances, which we would ultimately translate into better or higher quality of life. Conversely, if wasting food which is bought with money, mostly not very many of the planet population still practice barter trade. So mostly we buy food with fiat currency. If wasting food becomes a habit that can percolate into our spending habit as well, we thereby spend everything we make and more with credit cards, thereby saddling ourselves in needless mountains of debts. Needless mountains of debt. The worry of which can stymie, the worry about our debts can stymie our quality of life and expansion of consciousness. Let us make sure, folks, let us make sure every food that goes into the trash is thrash worthy. Again, every food, any and every food that goes into the trash is thrash worthy. You know, sometimes nothing could be done about it. Say unintentionally, we burn our food. Such foods are thrash worthy and not fit to be given to others. Or say unintentionally, we bought rotten apples to the house, to our homes. Such foods are thrash worthy and not to be given to our neighbors. No. Any food which we deem unwholesome should not be given to others to eat, with the exception of few occasions where what we think is unwholesome may not necessarily be the same for others. A popular adage goes, one man's meat is another man's poison. So maybe your poison today might be a meat for somebody. In such occasions, it is okay, it is great, it is worthy. You are being inspired and motivated to give to those who see that poison of yours as meat to be relished by them. Outside those few outliers, we should not give rotten apples, rotten bananas to other people. No. Torn apart clothing to the homeless. No. If it's rotten, if it is torn apart and not fit to be worn by you, to be eaten by us, then it is not fit to be eaten by all. It is thrash worthy. It is not fit to be worn by all. It is thrash worthy. Because such foods may have deleterious effect on their lives. The same life which we all share one indivisible consciousness with. From the above, if we truly practice the habit of non-wastage, we shall rarely see rotten foods in our homes, since we shall buy only the kind and amount we need. And after cooking, we can see if there shall be unwanted leftovers, which could be easily packaged and given out to those who have not had hot meals for long time, for as long as they can remember. And there are a lot of these people teeming the street of every city, teeming the street of every country, irrespective of their economic strength. We have people who have not had hot meals in a long time. As reported by the United Nations, that since 2014, people who have been affected by food insecurity keeps rising every year. The numbers keep going up. It keeps adding up. What are you, me? What are we doing to reverse this dangerous trend? Being experienced by a part of our consciousness, suffering needlessly. The millennial once foretold, the millennia seen as told, the unlocking of nature's secrets to the bold, the profound luxury glaring for all to behold, the sea of abundance too tall and older for others to hold, the greed of mankind beyond what could be told, the scourge of avariciousness everyone's been told. The day of reckoning comes faster with death for us to behold. The unshared gift, a veritable shackle around the neck for all to behold. Once again, this was the short discourse on the Greatest Call channel. And remember, every food we waste is sending others to their grave for the lack thereof. Again, through our actions, my actions, your actions, folks, every food that we throw away can save many, many tens of millions of lives. For almost 6 months now, we at the Greatest Call channel have been feeding about 7 people a day. 7 people a day. With time, this shall be extended, and we shall give you all the opportunity to help in this cause of reducing needless world hunger. In the interim, let us reduce what goes out of our homes into the garbage and food disposal. God bless you, your family, and the planet. See you all very soon.